Hello and welcome back to our First Flight kickoff streams. My name is Jess and today we have another exciting project for you to dive into and use to improve your security auditing skills. These contests are designed as an opportunity for you to apply your knowledge and test yourself before you go out into the big world of competitive audits. Now, this week's contest is a pretty exciting one because it is actually a Rust contest, which we've not seen before on the CodeHawks platform. So I'm looking forward to diving into this with you today and talking through this contract and preparing you all for the next week of bug hunting. Now, before we get started, I would like to thank the contributor. The contributor's name is Nemo the Finder. So thank you very much for that contribution. He is a member of our community and has contributed this repo for the contest. If you would like to contribute a repo for the first flights, then please reach out over on our Discord. We definitely appreciate the contribution to us and the contribution to the rest of the community as well. Now, as always, if you have any questions about the repo, please post them in the live chat. And if you have any questions after this stream is wrapped up, then please head over to our Discord. This contest will have its own channel where you can ask questions and you can chat with other auditors who are taking part to help yourself get through this process. Now, this contest will last for 1 week. As you can see, the end slot is 170 and the contest started yesterday at midday and will run until Thursday of next week. So you've got a couple of days here to dig your teeth in and see what you can find. I am aware of a number of vulnerabilities that the developer has pointed out, but it's always interesting to see if you can find some that may have been missed. So I'm looking forward to this one. Let's take a look at what this contest is all about. So it is called RustFund, and RustFund is a decentralized crowdfunding platform built on the Solana blockchain. It enables creators to launch fundraising campaigns and contributors to support projects they believe in, all in a trustless and transparent manner. So let's take a look at what this this repo is all about. First of all, it has 4 main features. It allows us to create fundraising campaigns, so creators can launch campaigns with custom names, descriptions, and funding goals. We can contribute to projects, so if somebody has created a fundraising campaign and we like the look of it, we can contribute some Solana to an active campaign. Now, if one of those campaigns hasn't reached the goal that it was set out to reach by the deadline, we can get a refund of our Solana. And finally, we can do secure withdrawals as well. So if the creators do create a campaign, they are successful with that, and they hit the goal before the deadline, then they can withdraw those funds. So as you can imagine, there are 2 actors within this project. We've got the creator, so the person that's creating the fundraising campaigns, setting the campaign deadlines, and withdrawing funds after a successful campaign. They also have exclusive rights to manage their campaign settings. And then we have the contributor. So the contributor contributes to Solana 2 campaigns and is able to request a refund if a campaign they have contributed to has not met its goal by the deadline. Now, we will be going through the contracts in a little bit more detail in a second, but it's always good to just understand what the project is about and the goal and what it's trying to achieve before we take a look at the repo. Getting started with this, though, there are a couple of prerequisites here. Some of these may be new to you if you've been working through Updraft and working with Solidity. Perhaps you've even been working with Viper. This is another bow to add to your belt. Is that the word? A string to your bow? I don't know. There is a famous phrase there somewhere. So we have a couple of prerequisites here. Definitely check them out. One thing that I would always say is don't shy away from learning new languages. It's always good to have a niche, and it's never as hard as you anticipate it will be. Once you know one coding language, it's much easier to translate that over into a second. And having that niche within the competitive audit space definitely gives you a leg up, and it will help you in your security auditing skills in general, because if you're able to adapt and understand different code bases, it is definitely useful. Let's take a look at what's going on in the chat here. Okay, we are seeing some vulnerabilities in the live chat. We're not meant to be sharing these with people yet. I'm going to delete that comment. People want to be finding these themselves. Please do not comment your vulnerabilities that you have found within the repo. Save them and submit them on the CodeHawks platform. If you give them away, everybody will submit them, and then you'll get less points. So definitely keep those to yourself. No, don't apologize. Absolutely fine. But maybe there will be some people in the Discord who are asking questions and need support. If you would like to contribute in that way, that is always great. There are a lot of newcomers coming into the industry through these first flights. As you say, you are new to auditing as well. So helping others understand the repo, since you've been able to find some vulnerabilities, is always great. And hopefully others will do the same for you next time around. Anyway, let's carry on with the building. The prerequisites are listed here, and then we have the build instructions and the test instructions. We have no known issues for this repo, so it's all up for grabs, and the scope is just the one contract. So let's take a look at what we are looking at here now, just to run through how you can get to this contract, this contest. If you just go to codehawks.cyphron.io, you go to the first flights tab here and you select RustFund, then you can see that the repo is here. So once you click here, you will find the GitHub repo with everything you need, the details of the contest starting, ending, and all of that information that we've just discussed on the CodeHawks platform can be found within the README as well. But time to pull up the contract and have a run through it. So first of all, once again, thank you so much to the contributor, Nemo the Finder. They have contributed this repo for the contest this week. So huge thank you to them. Let's take a look at what's going on here on a more technical level. So first of all, we are going to do the usual installations, and then we are going to declare the Solana program ID. So this is going to specify the deployed program on chain, and then we can get into the contract. So I'm going to try my best. I know maybe some of you haven't looked at a Rust contract before. I'm going to try my best to compare some of the elements to this contract to a Solidity contract. That is the best way, in my opinion, or how I find it is the best way to transition from one language to another, to understand what the comparison is between those two languages. So we will go along with that today. Hopefully you will find that useful. So this is first initializing the public module. This is essentially like doing contract and RustFund, if I could tell it right, like this. This is essentially the equivalent here. Next, we are going to bring in everything we need, and then we're going to start at writing our functions. Now, this is just a standard function here. So it's a public function. It's called fund create, and then it has a list of parameters that we need to bring in. We've got the context, we've got the fund's name, the fund's description, and the fund's goal. Now, this may look somewhat familiar to you, but you may be questioning what this context is. So what I've done is I've quickly pulled something together to help explain this to you. The context is used to help provide us with information about the account. So in Solidity, you will know that when we use message sender, we get the caller of the function. When we use message value, we get how much Ethereum has been sent. And when we use address this, we get the contract's own address. We don't have these global variables predefined with our anchor contract. So what we need to do is we need to bring that information into the functions, and we do that by providing context here. So if we go back to the repo here, you can see we are providing the context when we are calling the function, and it allows us to use functions like this, which is essentially the same as message sender. So this is just the comparisons between the two there. Now, there are some benefits to this. It gives us more flexibility. So it's a new feature that we'll need to look at when we're looking at Rust and we're coming from Solidity, but it's pretty simple to understand and take advantage of. It's just that you have to kind of do manually rather than Solidity already having those built-in global variables. Taking a look at this fund create function, though, you can see that it has the 4 parameters here, and then we are going to assign those parameters to the fund's variables. We're going to set the fund's name, we're going to set the fund's description, we'll set the fundraising goal, so how much we want to raise. We will also set the deadline to 0 at this point, but it can be changed later. We will set the creator to the message sender, and we will initialize the raised amount to be 0, but obviously, hopefully, this will increase over time. Finally, the deadline is not set yet, so this variable is set to false, and then we should return all good. So that's the fund create function. This function will be called, if we go back to the contest details, by the creator. So this creates a new fundraising campaign. Moving on to the next function, then we have the contribute function. This contributes Solana to a specific fund. So this takes 2 parameters. Once again, we are taking in the context and we are taking the amount of SOL to contribute. We are then letting the fund be the fund that has been defined and the contribution be the contribution that has been sent. And then we are heading into making that contribution and changing the state variables. So we are going to reject the contribution if the deadline has passed. If the fundraiser has already come to an end, then we can no longer contribute it. So that's what this check is here. We are then going to initialize the contribution account if it's new. So if the account that's sending the message hasn't established itself as a contributor, then we need to initialize it. If it's contributed before, then we do not need to, but this just checks for that. We are then going to transfer SOL from the contributor to the fund, so the fund's value should increase. And that is updated with the variables through this line here. So that is the contribute function. Moving on to the next one, we have set deadline. So once again, this will have the context in the first parameter and the deadline in the second. This allows us to set a deadline if we do not reach the goal of the fundraiser, so the amount that wants to be raised by this deadline, then those that contributed will be able to request a refund. So you can see this pretty simply. If we are going to set the deadline, we are going to then set the deadline for this specific account, this specific fundraiser, and we are going to prevent overwriting existing deadlines if they've already been made before changing the value of the variable. Next, we are going on to the refund function. So this only has 1 parameter, which is the context. We are going to let the amount be the amount that has been sent, the contribution amount for the message sender, and we are going to ensure that the deadline has been reached before allowing refunds, because refunds should only happen if the goal wasn't met before the deadline. So if the deadline has already been reached, then we can look to offer refunds to contributors. So what we need to do to offer this refund is we need to subtract the amount of SOL from the fundraiser's funds, and we need to add to the contributor's SOL and make that transaction. So then we'll clear the contribution amount for the account to 0 once that has all been done. Next and finally, we are going on to the withdraw function. This takes 1 parameter, and this is once again the context containing the fund and creator accounts. And what we are going to allow here is if the fundraiser has reached the goal of the amount of SOL that they wanted to raise by the deadline, then the fund creator can withdraw that SOL and use it for whatever their campaign was for. Now, just quickly touching on this, every instruction, so every function that we've discussed so far is paired with a context struct, and this is found down here. So there's 1 for every single function, and you can see what's being initialized and stated there. So we'll just run through the first one. The fund create struct creates a new fund account derived from the seeds, the name and the creator, ensures deterministic unique PDA per fund. So we're going to take the payer, who is the creator. We're going to take the space, so how much space to allocate. and then we are going to bump used in PDA derivation. So there's the structs there, and you'll see one for every single function. And then finally, we have the custom error codes used throughout the program. So if we've used custom errors, maybe the deadline has already been set and we're trying to set a new deadline, then that first one will come up. If a deadline has already been reached, then we shouldn't be allowing refunds. So we should omit the deadline reached error code, etc., etc., etc. So these are all the custom error codes used throughout the program, defined at the bottom. So I hope this walkthrough has given you a little bit of a head start into understanding this code base. It was quite hopefully a helpful walkthrough there. The contract itself and the functionality of it isn't too complex. So this is a brilliant place to start learning Rust and understanding how to audit Rust. So I definitely recommend this contest if you are new to Rust. As you do find vulnerabilities, all you need to do is head over to CodeHawks and then click submit a vulnerability, complete this page here and submit the vulnerability there for review from our judges. So this contest closes on Thursday, so you have almost a week to go through the repo and see what you can find. I would always say, if you have done Solidity contests before and you're looking to start a new language, I always stress not to worry too much because the vulnerabilities will be similar. A lot of the time, a vulnerability comes from the fact that we're not checking a specific variable or we're checking it incorrectly. That will be the same no matter the language. So don't worry about it being a huge jump. It's always less of a reach than you expect it to be. But go ahead, see what you can find in this repo, submit them on the CodeHawks platform. When the competition closes on Thursday, our judges will be going through those submissions and validating them, invalidating them, and categorizing them low, medium, and high, just like we do for the competitive audits on the CodeHawks platform. So this will give you an idea of the quality of your submissions and give you an understanding of how to create submissions on the CodeHawks platform for when you do venture into a real competition where you can earn some big money on the CodeHawks platform. But I think that's all we needed to discuss today. I hope that has been helpful. If you do have any questions about this repo, then head over to the Cypher and Discord. It is linked in today's description. If you go to that link and you go to the Discord, there will be a channel open specifically for this contest where there will be auditors who are new to Rust or new to competitions looking to understand the repo a little bit more. So I recommend all working together, seeing what you can find, making those submissions and practicing being a part of those real competitions. Travis Equius has just linked that in the live chat as well. But that is all for today. So thank you very much for joining. And we will be back here very, very soon with a contest kickoff and with another first flight. They are every other week. So I will see you all then. Thank you very much for watching.